My name is Gerhard Wisniewski. I'm a freelance filmmaker and film producer here in Germany, and author of several books also. And with my colleague Willy Brunner, I did a film about the events of 9/11, which was called Aktenzeichen 11.9. ungelöst, which is Case 9/11 unsolved in English, I think. Yeah, and the film was broadcasted on June 20th, 2003. And in the film we posed some questions about the background of 9/11. We posed some questions, for instance, whether these people were really Arab hijackers in the planes, for example, and whether in Pennsylvania really went a large airliner down. And this was broadcasted in June 2003, and afterwards there was a very large political campaign against us, against Willy and me. For example, the German news magazine Der Spiegel slandered us, and they alleged that we maybe quoted some people wrong in the documentary and so on. And it was really a very large political campaign. And afterwards, the station which broadcasted the film fired us from our jobs.
What were your jobs?
Yeah, we were freelance film producers and film authors, and we worked for several years for that station, which was the largest public TV station in Germany, WDR, and they were under such political pressure that they stopped working with us.
Did they commission and pay for the documentary?
All of that. They paid for that. They had a look on the documentary. They accompanied us working on the documentary, and they approved it, and after that they broadcasted it. And you must imagine that after all these steps, they alleged that something was wrong with the documentary, and they adopted the arguments of Der Spiegel, which were totally wrong, and then stopped working with us further.
Why did they do that?
Some people here in Germany feared very much that this film could be broadcasted all over the world abroad, because normally other films of ours were sold to other countries, here in Europe for example, and this would have been also the case with that film on 9/11, so that they knew perfectly well that this film would be sold to other countries. And I think this was a very, very large problem for some political pressure groups here in Germany, but also worldwide, I think also in the US. And the idea of critical questions on 9/11 would have made it globally, you know. So I think it was a sort of emergency break for them to stop working with us. But this had a sort of signal effect to other stations, I think, and it's very, very difficult for us to work now with other TV stations.
So they destroyed your career?
Yes, of course. We were for several years very well-known filmmakers here in Germany. We did films for the biggest stations here in Germany. Very interesting films, very successful films, which were shown a lot of times. Yes, of course, they destroyed this career as a filmmaker. And to me, it's very lucky that I can write books now on several subjects.
So how did you react to what happened?
To us, this was a very, very big shock, you know, and we never imagined that something like that could happen here in Germany, because Germany is calling itself a democracy.
Can you tell us about your book, Operation 9/11?
Yeah, the book Operation 9/11 was also one of the first critical books worldwide on the events of 9/11. It was published at the same time as our documentary in June 2003, and it is a very, very comprehensive criminalistic investigation in the events of 9/11. So it starts with the story of the hijackers before they allegedly hijacked the planes. What did they do in the US, for example? It asked whether they boarded the planes at all, why they were not on the passenger lists. The book asks who steered the planes, in fact, in reality, to the buildings, for example. Then there's the question of identification of the bodies of the hijackers. Why weren't they identified at the crash sites, and so on. And it ends with a political analysis of the background of 9/11 and the question for the motives of these deeds, of these atrocities, and also the questions whether the Arabic world had any motives at all to perform such atrocities in the US.
Is the book available in English?
Yes, it's unfortunately only in German or in Korean language, if you prefer that. And I'm also looking for a publisher in the US, of course, but it's because I think it's still a very good book on that subject.
Do you have a website?
Yes, my website is here in Germany, of course. It's my name, www.gerhardwisniewski.de.
Getting back to your being fired, do you think